All right, so for tester purposes, our crossover hose is a little long, but I wasn't into pulling it apart. So got down here, started just shaving away at this after I cut the tape off of it, and this is what's here. So here's our homemade line with our silicone and our fitting. That's like even loose going into this line. Look at that, shaking back and forth. So I'm still gonna work on figuring out what they have going on right here. So we're just gonna keep chiseling away at it, I guess, and see if we can separate that, see what's going on. All right, so I had a fitting that went right onto that. I just plugged in this. I'm not sure if it's a fuel sensor or what exactly just yet. So I reused this line. Hopefully it was made correctly, but I did find this. This was the line. This was on the end of that line. Okay, so we had the NA fitting, and then we have non-NA. Then we had this fitting. That's to screw onto this, not this. So they forced that sucker on there with the wrong fitting in, and it's like, no wonder there's black silicone down in here, and there's orange on the top, because I guess they put it together and we're like, hey, why is that leaking? But it looks like it has, that is like the coupler ring that actually goes on the bottom side. It looks like they had tried shoving that in the top to make it a NA fitting, and then when they forced it down, there's nothing for it to sit in on this. This is just a straight end fitting. An ORB fitting should have an O-ring, which would never seal on that. So I just wanted to show that. All right. I'm not getting any fuel pumps now. The rigging of this rig rod is just astronomically unacceptable. That popped off. It doesn't fit down on the battery. We got to alleviate that. And then on top of it, the wonderful, I mean, come on, wonderful pulled out on it, and that pop just broke right off there. So we don't even have a tripod anymore, so we're handing this thing. I'm gonna try to get something for this. Then I got to see why the fuel pumps aren't turning on. Okay, so we got the hood shut, but quick little update. I did try cranking it over. Like I said, I don't know if this thing has, you know, E85 in it or what, because that's what was in the tank. So we put some E85 in this thing. I jumped out the pump back here, so I don't know if it's an issue with the fact that the pump's not turning on with the key, that's not allowing it to start, or the fact that we need to put gasoline in here. So right now we're somewhere in between there, where we're gonna have to pump this stuff out and I guess get some gas, run it through the lines, see if it fires off of the gas, because it was kind of trying to fire off a brake clean. If I did have some help here today, I would spray some in and then kind of crank it over and see if it worked. But as of right now, we're again at a standstill getting the trash rod to start. All right, well, trash rod, I don't know, we messed and messed and messed, but it's finally at the point where it's just like, it's just not going to happen. There's way too much wrong with trying to get this thing running. I'm just kind of doing one last walk around here. This is going to be this thing coming to pieces. I'm going to look up what KBB value is on this truck, and then we're going to look up our bumper, our fenders, our hood, all the stuff that is on this thing currently, and try to get a price value of what was actually spent, because I mean, regardless, say what you want, the tires, they're new. Like, the hood, I mean, it's hard to say how long it was on here. It's got overspray and everything else along with the fenders from who knows what kind of stuff that this wonderful person was trying to create. We got to get these seats out of here. It's just time to get everything out of here. The little fancy tack, I don't know, maybe I'll look up and see what that is. It's brand new, it was never hooked up. Like I said, we got the seats, some of the stereo equipment, the 5-point harnesses. I'm not even going to worry about trying to include any of the prices of any of these speakers. Maybe we'll see if we can figure out the speaker box, but I don't think that's anything. Maybe we'll look at the capacitor and the value on some of these Blaupunk amps. I know that Skylar audio amp, that brand is pretty cheap. You know, the fuel cell, I'll probably look up and see what the fuel cell cost. I did do some research on some of this air ride stuff. My plan is to, like I said, pull all this stuff apart, try to salvage as much of this air ride stuff, get the junk trimmed off of it, and put it all on a pile, and then try to get a price for it. We got our fancy little wing. The toolbox is reusable for something. Whoever did to this bumper when they trimmed this makes this absolutely no good to be reused on a 4th gen. So, you know, there is going to be some parts here. We're going to have a rear differential, 2-wheel drive shaft, transmission. Yeah. The cab, I'll probably try to reuse this cab on something because I put together a bunch of trucks. You know, here's the little tiny front mount. You know, the engine did run. Could you hear it run? A little bit. We kind of ran through a can of brake clean, trying to make it stay running, with trying to get the fuel system to work. But we tried E85, we tried gas, we flushed the line. It just would not stay running long enough unless I was feeding it brake clean. So yeah, I mean, we got a lot of work here. I'm gonna get the grinder out and then we'll cut this up. This frame is totally wasted. These front horns might be good, so if they're good, we'll save those. But anyway, I'm going to be getting this thing turned around, and like I said, we will be working on pulling everything apart. If you see something, I guess you could comment. Like I said, I'm going to go over prices of just a quick Google search. I'm going to try to find a couple things, see what the cheapest is. I'm probably just going to see what the price is, maybe add shipping, because some of these large items, I know when I looked up the hood, it was like $2,100 with it shipped to my location on a couple of the sites that had it in stock. But like I said, we're just looking at what this stuff costs new. Stuff is used, it's not perfect. So, you know, we already know we're not gonna, it doesn't have the same value as new. But like I said, all the air ride stuff, all the lines, we're just gonna get everything cut off the frame, put it in a pile, and hopefully, you know, recoup some money for that. It would have been cool to break this thing out and you know, whip a donut if it stayed posy, or do a burnout with it, to at least see if the drivetrain was good enough to use for another project that I was thinking about doing that with. But I mean, I could still possibly use that as a mock-up, or just wait till I get the right one from a Challenger, because I do want the manual. But to pieces the trash rod comes.